Recently, there has been a ton of press about how hackers can potentially use devices like the Flipper Zero to try to gain access to car key fobs or even try to physically copy an actual key. And that actually brings up a really interesting topic, because hacking isn't just a cybersecurity thing, it's more of a mindset than anything else. That's why so many so-called hackers are really into lockpicking. So today I'm going to show you some of the absolute basics of lockpicking, I'm going to show you how the different lockpicks work, and I'm going to show you something even more fun than lockpicking, which is bypassing. Because sometimes it's not about how skilled you are, it's about how good your tools are. And I'll even talk about how I used my Flipper Zero to decode and 3D print a working copy of a key. It was a really cool project. Man, I've been wanting to do a lockpicking video for so long, so I couldn't be more excited. Today's the day, and let's get at it. So one thing I want to mention is we like to call it locksport because we're not professional locksmiths. Well, most of us, I'm not, but we do like figuring out how locks work, and it's super satisfying when you finally unlock one without the key. Because it's also kind of funny is that professional penetration testers typically use lockpicking as a last resort because honestly, it's one of the hardest ways to gain access to anything. The real pros use things like bypassing or just social engineering their way through places because at the end of the day, unless you're a black belt lockpick, it's going to be very slow and pretty unreliable. Alright, so let's switch cameras and check out some picks and check out some locks. But not before this super quick segue to today's sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay is your one-stop shop for all things PCB design, fabrication, 3D printing, CNC, sheet metal fabrication, and so much more. No matter what your project is, PCBWay has got engineers on staff to help you every single step of the way. It could not be easier. And of course, while you're there, check out the module store. There's so many cool things in there and so many cool tools. It gives me designs, it gives me ideas. It could not be more fun. Thank you so much, PCBWay, for your continued support. You guys are absolutely awesome. Now let's get back at it. All right, so I've been wanting to do a lockpicking video forever, but it wasn't until my buddy Tony over at Covert Instruments sent this bad boy over that I really wanted to take the plunge, because I've had lockpicks before, but I haven't had a lot of these really cool extra tools like the bypass tool. So if we look over here, these are just some of the bypass tools that we have over here. Like we've got a straight up bypass hook, we've got some auto jigglers over here, a knife, and these are wafer bypass, like skeleton keys. We have a lock shim, and then over on the other side, we have some really cool comb bypass tools, and another, I think this is for slipping latches. Very cool tool. He also sent over these Telefreak badges. These are for the Telefreak competition, or CTF, at DEF CON, which I actually went through and I got past it. And these are the badges for him. These are the hackers' laptops from the movie Hackers. So cool. I absolutely love these. Thank you so much. Now, one thing I want to point out is this is about a $150 tool, and this thing is absolutely amazing. I love tools, and the fit and finish on this could not be nicer, but you don't have to spend that much money. In fact, so if we want to stick on Covert Instruments, this is the Echelon set. I actually lasered my logo on these. I think it came out really cool. This is about a $70 set. It's a little bit more expensive too, but Covert Instruments makes really good stuff. But if you wanted to say go a little bit less expensive, I absolutely adore my Jimmy Long set. See how annoying this sound is? Oh yeah. And yeah, these are relatively inexpensive lockpicks, and I love these. These are probably one of my favorite lockpicks. I'm going to be using these later on to show you how some of this stuff works. But amazing set, and they're actually pretty affordable. So today we're going to be using, for the most part, this clear lock right here. So one of the things that's interesting about these is that they have very little value from a learning perspective beyond the absolute basics. Practicing how to open a lock like this is more or less a waste of time because you're using your eyes to figure out how to unlock this, which is really silly because if you have a real lock, you can't see anything, so it's completely pointless. So, you know, long story short, if you want to learn how to do stuff, maybe get one of these just to begin with, just so you kind of have an idea of how things work, but they have very little value. All right, so basics of lockpicking is super simple. So we have two tools. I'm going to use this. This is a Jimmy Long's, just one of their random hooks. I don't know which size hook. I'm sure somebody down in the comments can let me know. And their turning tool. I honestly like these 90-degree bottom of keyway turning tools because I have the most practice with these, so I'm better with these than I am with some of the top of keyway turning tools. I do need to learn how to use the top of keyway turning tools. That's what everybody tells me, so this may be kind of a crutch. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert our turning tool in the bottom of the lock on the opposite side of the pins, and we're going to put a little bit of tension on it. And then I'm not used to filming lockpicking, so this is going to be awkward for me. But what we're going to try to do is push the pins, because we can see the pins will move right here. See that moving right there? Boom, boom. And we need to find which one of these pins is actually binding, because that one doesn't bind, that one doesn't bind, that one doesn't bind, that doesn't bind, that doesn't bind. Let's get to the last one here. And that one just sat in position. There we go. So that one actually clicked in, and now we have that above the shear line. So we're just going to move over and try the pins over and over again until sooner or later, that one binds a lot. Let's give it a push. May have lost a pin in there in the process. There we go. Because you can always lighten up on your pin pressure, and then that will kind of reset things to let you push. There we go. And now our lock opened. Again, since we can see what we're doing, it makes it way too easy to actually open stuff. So looking what you're doing is kind of a waste, but it also allows us to kind of demonstrate some other pretty cool principles. So let's move on to a different type of pick. Now, this here is what they're calling an aggressive triple peak cycloid pick. I just call them wave rakes because I'm dumb and that's way too many syllables all at the same time. So the way this works is basically you're just going to pull it in and out of the lock, and it's going to kind of add kinetic motion to the pins and kind of push them past the break so that we can get them kind of stuck over the shear point. So again, we're going to take our turning tool, bottom of keyway, light pressure, and I'm going to turn this a little bit because my microphone's really close. I'm trying not to punch my microphone. Yeah, me from the future. It didn't really help. I still punch it at the end of the video, so keep this in the bottom of the keyway. Again, this is super awkward. And let's go and get in the keyway. And we're just literally going to pull this in and out. And that's how bad of a lock that was. You see that? I'm the first pull on this, and it immediately opens. So again, super, super crappy locks. These are so easy to open, but it also does show how easy it can be to get these open. I even have the tool in. It doesn't really matter which direction you turn it with this lock because it's just that easy. Okay, this one's not going to be, it's going to give me some trouble now. There we go. And now we're done. So again, these clear locks, while they're fun, they're really good at demonstrating how things work, but it actually has very little value in learning how to lockpick. So that's fun. So now I did want to show off on the Covert Companion exactly how everything works in here because it's such a well-built tool. It's so freaking cool. So these are the top of keyway turners. You kind of just lift up on this part here, and then they come right out of the tool. Just got to get lined up, and they come right out. Very, very cool. These are, again, top of keyway turners. They work very, very well. I'm just very, very bad with them. So we're going to go ahead and put that away for the moment. Close that up. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to grab this little bundle right here, which pulls right out. Boom. And this is their kind of traditional picks, right? So these are some of the rakes, and then these are some of the single pin picks. So we're going to use single pin for today. Again, I like this flat profile. I don't know why. It's just me. Don't ask. I'm really bad at lock picking. I'm doing my best. So we'll crack this open, which is kind of cool, is if we look at the back of this, it has like a little notch guy. So if we go all the way up with it, you'll see it clicks into position. So now this is out. This won't close on us, so it's really, really cool. I do like the form factor. I like chunky handles. That's why I like Jimmy Long so much. So let's try to use this single pin hook to open up this master lock. Now this is, if anybody knows, a master lock 140. I think it's 4 pins and it's got some spools in it. So this is not the easiest lock in the world, but it's not that hard. It does teach things like counter rotation, so when the spools hit the shear point, it kind of gets harder, and you have to learn how to feel out. So again, there's a lot of fun with this one lock. It's one of my favorites right now. So we're going to try to see if we can get into it. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a lot slower with this because I haven't practiced this pick anywhere near as much as I've practiced this pick, and I'll show you the difference in a second. So let's see if we can get lucky. So we're going to go bottom of keyway because I'm a heathen. And let's see if I can go in here. So I know, let's go in all the way back. Little bit of pressure. I wish I had a better microphone so you could really hear these pins move. But it's really hard to explain the type of pressure that you need on here because a lot of lockpicks, especially if you watch videos, you'll hear these big loud clicks and you'll think it makes all this noise and it's so loud, but it's really not. I'm also picking in front of myself. This is not the way a normal person would really pick locks. Picking locks on camera is so much harder than you'd think it would be. Editing Sasquach here. I fumbled around with this lock for like 2.5 minutes, and it's because I'm not very practiced with this lock pick, and you know, it's kind of boring, so I figured, hey, let's just cut to the chase and get right to it. That was pen. Oh, I'm right there. I'm right there. There it is. There it is. So, that's how long that took with, again, Covert Instruments. Amazing, amazing fit and finish. I love these. Everybody, I think, if you can afford it, this is a great tool, the Covert Companion, because it has everything. Again, this is what excited me to make this video, was this tool and how amazing it is. So I don't want to say anything negative at all about Covert Instruments. I want to say that I'm not very good at lockpicking A and using their tools B because I haven't practiced as much. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to put this back in here and just slide it in, clips in. Ah, so satisfying. Such a nice tool. And let's switch over to this bad boy. So again, this has so many unlocks under its belt because this is what I use all the time. Let's see if we're any faster this way. So we're going to go that way. I'm going to hop in here and then we're just going to go and see if we can get... Yeah, see, that's how much better I am with this lockpick, just because I practice this lockpick all the freaking time. So, very, very cool. Good example. So one of the things that this lock in particular, and why I'm using it for this video, is a great example of, is a lock with a vulnerability. Because a lock with a vulnerability, it doesn't matter how good you are at lockpicking, if it's vulnerable, it doesn't matter at all, and it will open instantly if you have the right tools, which we do. So let's open this guy up. These are the wrong ones, and over here we have, this is going to be a comb. This is a 4-pin comb, because that lock has 4 pins. The problem is, and I'll grab the clear lock for a second so we can see. The problem with that lock is that you're actually able to push the entire pin past the shear point. So if you can push the entire pin, the entire, like the top pin and the bottom pin past the shear point, this lock no longer is a lock, it's just open. And to exemplify that, we have this tool. So this tool, all we have to do is insert it, get it lined up with 4 of the pins, with the 4 pins, which we just did right there, and then, unfortunately, it just opens. I mean, it's that simple. It just opens. And maybe you're like, oh, well, maybe it's just that one lock, maybe it's poor security or something, so check this out. I don't only have 1 lock, I have 3 locks, because, again, all 3 of these locks do have very different personalities, and, you know, I kind of know each lock in particular, and if you pick the same lock over and over again, you kind of remember the order of the pins and things like that, so it makes it, like, way more fun, I think, to have multiple locks, but we can see they all suffer from the exact same vulnerability. All you gotta do is line it up, that's open, all you gotta do is line it up, clip it in, line it up, not lined up. Now that's open. One more time, line it up. And now, yep, gotta give it the fidget. Just not lined up. I'm trying to do it too fast to make it so I look cool. There we go. All 3 of those locks open without any difficulty whatsoever. Let's see how fast I can actually pick those 3. Let's see if we're cool. All right, ready? Let's just start off with there. We'll go in and let's go. Here's 1. Already losing time to the other set. Already losing time. Oh, shoot. That was a false set. All right, that's 1 open. Ah, I'm losing time. Come on. Counter rotation on 2. I do know one of these locks is a bit of a pain in the ass. I think it's this one. There it is. That's open. All right, and that's 3, clear. So there's a couple other tools I want to show off with the clear lock because they're super, super interesting. One is this bypass tool right here. This bypass tool is very, very cool. And if this was a either modified or old version of this lock, it will open this. So, and yeah, no, it just doesn't work. But I'll show you how this does work. So if we pop this into this lock, we'll see up here, we can actually, it's the wrong way, that goes down. And we can look, if we can get to the right spot in the lock. There we go. If you can see right there, it took a second to get it in the right spot, but it's actually pulling that wedge out right there. So right now, that wedge is past. So I can pull on the lock right there. So now you can see it's holding right past it. So it's not holding the latch. So what we can do from there is actually pull out another tool, which is going to be our knife tool. Where's that? I have to keep pressure on the lock, so this is really freaking awkward. I'm sure this makes for great television. Okay, cool. And what we can do now is go in and try to pop this back latch. So, pop it in this way, because we're going to have to leverage, get in there, and then if I push in the right way, Ah, there we go. And now we slip the lock. So we use 2 different bypass tools in order to get through this lock. But again, this lock sucks. So you can pretty much open it with a rock. All right, so we can put this crappy plastic lock away. And now, again, you guys all know that you can get one of these, but it's not going to make you very good at lockpicking. So let's do this. We're going to go ahead and grab our Flipper Zero. I'm going to grab this one because I just got this like uranium glass orange case. Orange. I know my colors. Yellow case. It looks so cool. I love it. And it's going to be impossible to see in the actual camera, but does this work? There we go. Yeah, it's UV reactive, which I absolutely adore. So what we did last time was we took our Flipper Zero. We're going to go to our applications, and this is running the latest version of Momentum. But if we go to tools, we can go down to our key copier. There we go, and measure. It's set to quick set, and this is the quick set key that I used in my video before. And if you line this up, it's really hard to see what the exposure levels, but you can go through and actually set the levels of these pins. So that goes there, that goes there, that's good there, that goes there, that goes there. And with the numbers on there, so 3322 or 33122, we can go ahead and enter that in and 3D print this key. So I have an entire video on how I did that, which is really, really interesting. And again, you don't need a Flipper Zero to do this. This isn't even remotely close to like a hack or anything. You could literally just go ahead and copy the profile of this key. So this is just literally, this is how keys are made. There's no magic here. There's no like, there's nothing weird happening. It's just how you make keys. But this was the key set or the quick set keys that I use or lock that I used. And yeah, actually with a little bit of finagling with the slicer and stuff, really difficult to get in there, but it just opens right up. So that's how that all works. There's really nothing nefarious going on with the Flipper Zero, and it's extremely hard to get the key back out. Oh, God. Did we kill it? Did we cook it? Are we done? Nope, it's good. Ah, this happened last time. Where's my pliers? Oh, well, that might be a problem. Oh, sh**. I smashed everything. Okay, it's out. We're good. And that's a pretty brief introduction to lockpicking and how bypass tools work, 'cause I absolutely love bypass tools. They're so freaking cool. Now, I will say that if you're going to get into lockpicking, pick up some decent lockpicks. They don't even have to be expensive. My buddy Viking hooked me up with my first set of Jimmy Longs. It was like a $20 intro set, and it's absolutely fantastic. And that was actually the picks that I was using today. That's why I'm so good with them. If you happen to be into lockpicking, I would absolutely love to know what your favorite picks are. Leave a comment down below. I absolutely love getting new tools, and lockpicks are no different, so if you leave some great comments down below, I'm sure I'll pick them up. And I want to personally thank you for watching this far in the video. You guys are absolutely awesome. It's because people like you that I keep making content, so please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.